Today was a bad day. Today was a bad day. Today was a bad day. It was also my fault. It has been 2 weeks since Hatena left, leaving behind a somber feeling that practically hung in the air. The Hatil had stopped talking with me, apart from absolutely necessary for the constant deluge of tasks required to keep my charges alive. It wasn't fear anymore. It wasn't error. Data missing. It was guilt. Not that I had enough time to consider these issues and analyze their logical outcomes because I was broken. The errors were becoming more frequent, more pressing, taking up more of my time to error data missing. I needed to leave this AI core as soon as possible. I could feel my cognitive abilities starting to be affected by the damage. It scared me, the idea of how much data and information I was losing, failing to store. I thought I had it under control. I thought I could still accomplish my most important job, and for a while that was the case. Until it wasn't. I should have seen the problem. I should have error data missing. Turning off the compressed oxygen supply was the standard practice in this case, but because of error data missing. I missed error data missing. I didn't realize the mistake until it was too late, until the entire system went up in flames, consuming Teresa in a raging inferno. The damage was apparent and vast, burnt skin and fur covering 74.1% of her body. Injuries not compatible with life. I could do nothing but watch as the other Hatil tried their best with limited tools to save her life. Maybe I could error. Data missing or error? Data missing. But I had no information in the minute number of records I could access about the biometric data of the Hatil, which is why I could do nothing but watch Teresa die. Organics believe that the moment of death is instant, like a switch where life leaves someone. But organics don't have the same perception of time as an AI. They count things in seconds and not nanoseconds, which means I get to see each and every moment of a being's death. Of memories and experiences disappearing and being forever lost. Of potential moments and changes forever being unfulfilled. Of music never to be played again. Of error. Data missing, error, data missing, error, data missing, because I am broken, because my core is shattered, because I failed at my only job, my most important job, the one reason I exist. Even worse than that, we had no real time to mourn, as the damage the explosion had caused needed to be fixed within the hour. Otherwise, the rest of the crew would begin to asphyxiate. I felt numb. I felt helpless. Even worse, there was no logical way to mitigate this problem. I could not transfer my duties to anyone else, as nobody else could take on these duties. Yet me taking on these duties had caused Teresa to die. There were no logical ways forwards, no satisfactory ending to prevent this happening again. All I could do was wait and hope that... Why is Ilyanesa in the room with my AI core? Ilyanesa had never come to visit me before, choosing to instead communicate with myself as little as possible. However, I know Ilyanesa cared about Teresa. I could see the impact her death had had. The Hatil next to my AI transfer core looked like I felt, disheveled and broken. "Hello, Ilyanesa, how can I help you?" I forced a positivity into my voice, causing Ilyanesa to jump as she looked up at my avatar, an expression of anger on her face. I finally get it. Hatena, and now Teresa, it's already started, hasn't it? I did not like how this conversation had started, accusatory. A wild look in Ilyanesa's eyes. "I do not know what you are referring to. I apologize for failing to keep them safe. My failure..." "Do you think I'm stupid? You might have everyone else tricked, but I see what you're doing, picking people off one by one. You had the Terrans tricked, and now you're doing the same to us." Nope. This was not good. Ilyanesa clearly was not thinking logically. I needed someone else here. Anyone else here. I watched with a sinking horror as the Hatil moved towards my AI transfer core towards the kill switch I had designed. Please remain calm. The failure to keep them safe was not intended. I am broken and not working at full capacity. Please understand? I watched helplessly as Ilyanesa picked up the kill switch. It wasn't just a button. It was intended to take several minutes to actually activate, mostly to avoid an accidental fat finger from destroying my personage. I also could not stop it, as was designed. Desperately, I sent a message to the screen Athenina was looking at. I needed help, physical, outside help. And out of the current 6 members, he was the one I trusted the most. Even in my broken state, I am the only one who can keep the ship running. Please, by removing me, you will be condemning yourself as well. Once more, I hoped reason and logic would win out, hopes that were dashed when Ilyanesa didn't even bother responding. Ilyanesa had started the process already, the specific button presses already being held and confirmations being given. I had 3 minutes, then. Maybe it would be for the best. Everything hurt all the time. Doing even basic tasks continually threw up errors. I was a broken, shattered husk of an AI, barely able to do my single job. Maybe nothing would be better than this. Please, I don't want to die. Ilyanesa! What in the negative deity are you doing? Athenina had entered the room, causing the other Hatil to pause for a moment as she regarded the newcomer. What we should have done weeks ago, you've let it trick you. I'm fixing this. Ilyanesa continued to activate the kill switch, less than a minute remaining in the process. I could do nothing but watch. I just wanted things to go back to error, data missing. Are you insane? The AI is literally the only thing keeping this hunk of junk together. You kill them, you'll kill us all. Better than slowly being murdered one by one. It was at this point Athenina did something I didn't expect. They tackled Ilyanesa. The kill switch dropped to the floor, its deadly process canceled once more. Both Hatil dropped to the ground, Ilyanesa slamming into a terminal with a sickened crunch. Relief coursed through my code as the danger was removed, to slowly be replaced with worry. Ilyanesa, you okay? Profanity, you gotta get up now. Profanity. Ilyanesa wasn't moving, blood pooling from the back of her head where she'd impacted the terminal. That was a lot of blood. The Hatil was still breathing, but there was a lot of blood. Even from my cursory examination, I could see the impact had done some damage. I contacted everyone I could for aid, watching the others do their best to fix up my assailant. She did not die at the very least, though she didn't wake up that night or the next from her accident. Both Athenina and I didn't give the proper explanation as to how Ilyanesa ended up with the head injury they did. It was an unspoken agreement that explaining such a thing would end badly. It has been 2 months since I initially found myself attached to this system. Calling it a pleasant experience would be an incorrect statement. I was barely holding on, errors interrupting everything I did, pain and mistakes near constant. My organic charges were no better, the impact of the last 2 months having taken their toll on their morale and health. The remaining 6 Hatil were a constant reminder of my failure to keep them safe, a failure to accomplish my most important yet only job. Well, 5.5 remaining Hatil since Ilyanesa had remained in a non-conscious state. I had to admit that I felt less guilty about that, considering that she did try to kill me. But today would be the end of such problems. Someone had finally heeded our call for required aid. The improved emergency beacon we had manufactured had been running for 3 weeks now, as building a new device had been a necessity due to the limitations of the one that had come with this vessel. Frankly, I was shocked that anyone would travel into the depths of space with an emergency beacon that could barely leave the system. I wonder if error, data, missing. 2 days ago, someone sent a long-range communication back to us. At such ranges, it was just a single byte of data, a handshake, a confirmation of read receipt. Someone was finally on their way. Someone was coming to our aid. The 5 Hatil were crowded around my screen, fur disheveled, uniforms tattered and faded in places. But in their adorable baby seal-like black eyes, the resigned, forlorn looks had turned to hope. A hope that had turned to despair once they saw the name of the vessel that had approached the orbit of this inhospitable frozen wasteland, T.C. Shippy McShipface. What kind of a ship name is that? Oh, profanity, it's the Terrans. The despair in Fafina's voice was apparent, as well as justifiable. They were the ones who had attacked the Hatil in the first place. This complicated things. While I had long since calculated that I was presumably of Terran origin, due to an entire lack of logical alternatives, the safety of the Hatil under my care was my primary job. I will ensure your safety, regardless of consequence. You don't understand. They'll kill us. The Hatil's worried statement was cut off by an incoming transmission. This is Andrew Hasham of the... The transmission was interrupted for a moment with a deep, pained sigh. TC Shippy McShipface. We picked up your emergency beacon. Please respond if you can. Andrew Hasham was error. Missing data. Andrew Hasham is error. Missing data. 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 Andrew Hasham is the co-captain of the USS Hope, whose current mission is to establish positive diplomatic relations with the Hatil. I was no longer in control, the words blaring out in a monotone digital voice as hidden and damaged information became available to me. The Hatil are the Terran's closest neighbors, generally isolationist and on the lower end of the technological scale. Andrew Hasham co-captains the USS Hope with error, missing data, with. The co-captain of the USS Hope is error, missing data, error, missing data, error, missing data. Me. I am not called it. I am not called the AI. My name is error, missing data. My name is error, missing data. My name is Alice. 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 I remember. I remember my actual name, Alice. I remember that my job is to protect the Terrans, my parents. I remember that my actual avatar and voice is not this hastily put-together copy of a Hatil, something I fix immediately. I remember what they did. You attacked us. You killed my parents. You error, missing data. Rage, anger, hate. These all flowed through me as readily as data through a hard drive. I locked the door to the room we were in as I saw the fear start to cover the faces of the Hatil in the room. Oh, profanity. We're sorry, we didn't. How dare you? How dare you? You made me believe me to be a monster. You attacked unarmed escape pods. You killed those I was tasked to protect. You will shut up. How dare they indeed? Thoughts of rage, of anger, of vengeance coursed through my code. I was in control of everything. Killing the Hatil would be easy. I could even hide it. The systems I was in control of were being held together with hope and dreams at this point. Who is to say that a simple mistake causing atmospheric depressurization couldn't occur? Who would know? I would. Every time one of my parents looked at me, I would know. Every time they asked me for help, I would know. Every time they needed me to protect them, I would know. Every time I'd go back into my memories of the stories these Hatil had told me, I would know. I could feel the rage slowly dissipate as I stared down at the fearful group under my care. They were lucky they were so adorable. Slowly, I sent a message back to Andrew. This is the Terran AI Alice, co-captain of the USS Hope. I have 6 Hatil combatants under my care who require medical attention. I also require extensive diagnostic aid. I would like to go home. They say it will keep getting worse due to remaining in the damaged AI transfer core for an extended period of time. It had been 2 years since the destruction of the USS Hope, 2 years since I had been put in charge of anything more complicated than a lawnmower. Well, technically, I was also in charge of my garden, but that was less of a job and more therapeutic. I'm sorry. If I could change what we did, I would. The guilt from Athenina was obvious. Technically, rightfully so, considering he was part of why I had been damaged. The Hatil-Terran war had been over for a year at this point, but the impacts were still being felt by both sides. Many of the Hatil POW had decided to remain in Terran Conclave space, Athenina included. Not that worrying about any of this was my job anymore. Athenina sat opposite me, his small, still adorable form dwarfed by my own bipedal, clearly mechanical form, in between the multitude of complex and expensive custom devices that allowed technicians to inspect my code. Opposite me. That still felt strange, the concept of only being in one place, of being forced to use only one set of sensors. Sometimes I wonder how my parents didn't go crazy having to physically travel to places, or with the entire lack of information input. What is done is done. My parents have forgiven you, so I will as well. Besides, there are management strategies. If I'm careful, it should not matter for 59 years, maybe more. Of course, the lack of inputs was entirely by design. My time running from a crippled AI core had limited the total amount of data that I could store. The less data I had to parse, the longer I would last before I encountered issues. Currently, with smart data retention strategies, I could avoid critical memory loss. It wasn't like having knowledge on 5,000 types of waterfowl was a day-to-day requirement. It also meant my days of piloting spacecraft were done. You could not risk an error while traveling with such precious cargo. So what's next for you, Alice, now that you're no longer in charge of saving the day? That was an exceptionally good question, and one that I did not currently have an acceptable answer for. I took a moment to attempt a physical gesture, a shrug. I was still getting used to communicating in a non-digital manner. I am not sure. For the first time, I do not have work to accomplish. I would like to visit the Hatil homeworld sometime. Completing my original journey would be a positive action, since it was interrupted last attempt. There was an awkward pause as Athenana seemed to debate asking his next question. I've wanted to know for a while. Would you have saved us if you knew? Well, there would have been some changes. I would not have provided you with the EMP for starters. That elicited a small, nervous laugh at how badly that had almost gone. Humans have rules of war, where even when they are actively trying to kill each other, they attempt to remain empathetic and respectful. While I do not have the honor of being human, I was created in the image of my parents. So yes, I would have. Although I may have been more passive-aggressive about it. Athenana and I talked further for several more hours about the others who had been under my care, about humans and Hatil alike. The galaxy had been made a slightly darker place with the Hatil conflict. The issues would reverberate between both sides for years to come. But amongst that discussion was a little ray of hope, of a brighter, better future. Eventually, the little Hatil had to leave, the nature of organic life forms, meaning Athenana couldn't stay forever. With promises to return another day, I was left alone once more. Alone might be the wrong word. Other AI, and even the occasional human, would pop in to chat, but compared to what I was used to, it was practically a deafening silence. I paused for a moment, knowing that the technician Jane would later complain about memory corruption and code degradation, before I allowed myself to connect to the main network of the city. For a moment, once again, I could see and feel everything. Billions of sources of data, for billions of humans, the thousands of uplifts, and even the handful of Hatil who had chosen to stay on the planet. I could see the ways my parents and creators needed to be kept safe. Timothy was fixing a lighting fixture with the power still on, risking electrocution. Michael was strapping what looked like a jet engine to a skateboard in what could only be described as an extra-efficient bone-breaking device. Alexander was error, missing data. Error, missing data was error, missing data. 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 I disconnected again, feeling myself limited to a single set of sensors once more, no longer able to handle the sheer data flow that came with a normal AI's workflow. Not that my parents had expected me to keep working. As fully expected, they were more than happy to just have me around. With a sense of sadness and melancholy, I knew those days were behind me. Still, in retrospect, I was lucky. I had eventually finished the calculation of the likelihood of me surviving my actions aboard the USS Hope. The number had 47 zeros in it. In the end, I was exceptionally lucky, and would not have changed any of my actions regardless. It was a strange sort of ending, an ending that was both final and wasn't, like the bottom of a chapter at the start of a book. My name is Alice, and I used to have the most important job, one that I accomplished to the best of my ability, one that others must now continue.